Hello, and welcome back to English 1. Today we will be studying the unit called Customer Service. In this unit, we will be studying vocabulary related to this very important concept in business, which is customer service and why it's important for companies. In the grammar section, we will be studying comparative and superlative adjectives, so their structure, their meaning, and their usefulness, and where it's a good idea to use this type of structure. And in the linguistic function sections, we will be revising some interesting vocabulary that we use when we are making a complaint, and more importantly, when we are receiving complaints from dissatisfied customers. Let's study these topics. Let's start with the concept of customer service in the vocabulary section of the unit. Like I said before, it's a very important element in business activities today, and it has been for quite some time. It's not a new concept, it's not a new definition, but what has changed maybe in the past few years, in the past few decades, is the different formats and reach of customer service. It used to be something that we associated only with call centers and telephone conversations with angry customers. But nowadays, customer service has evolved to become something much more integral, something much more far reaching, and something that is present in different media, in different platforms. So it's really important. A lot of companies, or most companies, give a lot of importance to this element. So it's interesting, and we need to understand why that is and what it is. Yes. So let's start with the concept of customer service. Freelance writer and customer service expert Crystal Craker gives us this very interesting and complete definition of customer service. She says, and it's a very recent one too. So she says, customer service is providing support, help to customers. It's a service, which means genuine human interactions are of the utmost importance. So it's very relevant and essential to establish person to person contact. It's not something cold or detached, it's something very personal. Yes. Providing customer support means that you are helping the customer find the best solution in the most efficient way while working within the confines of your company's policies. This is very interesting because yes, you want to help the customer. Yes, you want to answer to their complaints or comments or inquiries, but there are limits to what you can offer to the customer. You cannot offer them anything or everything because you work for a company and the company has rules. So even if the company or you have made a mistake with a customer, there are certain limitations as to what you can offer as a compensation. So this is a very realistic definition, a very attached to what the reality is and how it works. So I thought it would be a good a good starting point to discuss what customer service is. So it refers basically to providing help, advice to customers in every stage of the customer experience. It can be from before they buy a product or a service from our company and they are not sure what the best option is, so you can orient them in the right direction and tell them the characteristics of a product and how it will fit their needs, for example. But it can also refer to technical support once the customer has bought the product and he or she has problems, technical problems with it. You can also offer them your help. And even after the sale has been done and completed, and even if the customer is satisfied, it's not a bad idea, and it's part of customer service to do what we call follow-up, which is to check how satisfied the customer really is and what else you can do for him or her. So why is providing an excellent customer service an important element in today's business world? There are many reasons. We could make very long lists of benefits or advantages of providing good customer service. We could make a general list of these with these four elements. First of all, it has a positive impact on the company's bottom line, and the company's bottom line refers to the idea that the company needs to keep their customers satisfied, happy, their existing customers, the people who already buy from the company, and at the same time, through the provision of excellent customer service, the company can attract potential customers. So increase the number of people they provide services or products to. Yeah. So if the company is famous or has a good reputation for customer service, it will probably mean that it will have more and more customers every day. It's very related to the previous one, but it also helps to boost or improve the company's reputation. Sometimes a company has problems or has a difficult situation that hurts its reputation. Think about hotels or restaurants that receive bad reviews, for example. And then if they are able to solve these issues and provide better service, then this also impacts positively on trying to improve a reputation that was perhaps hurt or yeah, impacted negatively before for previous reasons. So providing good customer service ensures that the company has a better reputation. It's an integral part of the product experience, like we described before. It's not just about the actual buying of the product. It's more than that. The customer today expects more than just a product, more than just an object, that you have money and you invest the money and you receive an object in exchange. No, it's more than that these days. Now we are buying experiences. We are buying feeling good, feeling that the person who sells the products to us is really caring about our needs and our complaints and our comments. So this is all part of my experience as a customer, and it's something that I want to have. And well, it's part of the new experience when we are buying things. And finally, it's profitable. And then we're going to talk about the slide that we have here as an illustration. Profitable means that it generates money, it generates revenue or profit. And this is actually true because even if providing good customer service requires an investment of resources and money, basically, it also returns part or even more than that money, because nowadays customers are willing to pay extra money in order to have this integral product experience we were referring to before. They really want to have that, so they are willing to pay more money, basically. So that's something that is also related to the importance of customer service. So they are people who receive good customer service are more likely to repurchase, so they keep customer loyalty. It means that they continue buying from the same company because they receive good customer service. They are much less price sensitive. Again, they feel okay paying extra money for the product because they know they are going to receive a good treatment from the company. They are more likely to recommend your product or service. So this is what we talked about, the bottom line. If I'm satisfied with a product or service, I will recommend that company or that product or that service to people I know, to my friends, my family, etc. So that also impacts positively on the company. And they are less likely to shop around, so they are not going to look at the competition. They're going to keep their faith in your company. Well, and finally, we have some common words and phrases that we can use to describe or talk about customer service. We talk about customer support, which is a specific department in some companies that provides the technical aspect of customer service. So I bought I don't know, a fridge, a refrigerator, and I am having problems with the refrigerator. I call the company that sold me the refrigerator, and I talk to the customer support department because maybe they can help me figure out what the problem is and how to solve it. When you do that as a customer, you are reporting a problem. You are explaining the situation, the difficulty that you're having with the product or the service. When you report a problem, usually you are making a complaint because you are not happy, you are not satisfied with the level of quality of the product or with the appropriateness of the service that you received. So you make a complaint. You can also say, and let me jump a little here, you can also say that you are explaining the issue. You have to give as many details as possible so that the other person, the person who is, representing the company, understands what the problem is. And so you have to be very specific in your description of the problem. That's what you do when you're explaining the issue. Um, Companies usually, when they know or realize that they've made a mistake, they offer a solution, which means that they are trying to find a way to solve the problem, and if not, if it cannot be solved, a way to compensate their customers for this negative experience. Yes. And they do that with a certain response time, which is the time that the company takes to answer to all the requests and comments from their customers. And when they do that, they usually get feedback. Feedback means the comments or opinions of the customers about the products and services that the company provides. Customers can also have queries when they have questions about a specific product, even before they buy it. They may have some doubts about price, quality, use, etc. So they can call or contact the company to ask those questions. And again, when customer service is provided at a high level, at high quality level, it ensures customer loyalty. So it means the customer will return again and again and again because he or she is happy with the company and the service it provides. Let's move on to the grammar section of this unit. And here we have to study comparative and superlative adjectives. So we're going to talk about the different cases that these specific structures have. We need to understand, first of all, and very quickly, that adjectives are words that we use to describe everything. We use adjectives to describe people, places, objects, food, animals, situations, etc. Yeah, all types of things. And adjectives, they are words of description because they provide characteristics or features. And because of that, they usually go before the noun that they describe. So you have a bus here in the illustration and some cars. So you have this bus, you can give a characteristic about that bus. In this case, it's a vehicle. You give a characteristic using an adjective. So you can say, I don't know, it's a big bus or a fast bus. You are giving characteristics about an object. So the adjectives or words that you use to describe those characteristics usually go before the noun that they describe. Adjectives can come in their base form, which is what I've been doing with this example with the bus. You say big, fast, expensive, beautiful, understanding, etc. But in the cases that we are studying in this unit, we are talking about the comparative and superlative forms of these adjectives, which is what we use when we want to establish relationships between two objects or two people, or when we want to highlight one object, one person, one place above the rest. So that's what we do when we do comparative and superlative adjectives, which is what I'm going to show you in the next couple of slides. So here it is. Basically, this slide has three columns where you can see the different forms of comparatives, superlatives, and the original adjectives as well, because that's how we use them. We have the original form of adjectives, we have the comparative, and we have the superlative. When we have the original form, we are talking about the normal or the basic version of the word. And then you have comparatives when you have two elements that you want to compare, and you have the superlative when you want to highlight one element above the rest. So basically, comparative adjectives, to start with this discussion, are used to compare two similar elements using one characteristic. And we can have comparatives of superiority, inferiority, or equality, depending on the perspective from which we are doing this comparison. So we have, for example, two words or phrases or two elements that are similar, but they refer to, I don't know, different levels of size or price or anything. and you use a comparative adjective. Comparative adjectives in English have different ways to be formed, different ways to be is assembled, depending especially or particularly on the length of the word, of the original word. So you have, for example, for one syllable adjectives, you have the possibility or the rule of adding an er ending, which makes them comparative. So you have the original word such as fast or young, which are very short words, one syllable each one, and then you add the the er ending to indicate that you're using the comparative version of that word. So you say faster, faster than. So the car is faster than the bicycle. You are comparing two vehicles, for example, yes, using faster. Or my sister is younger than me. Yeah, that's another example with comparatives in this case, yes. When the original word is short and has an E at the end, of course, when we are writing, we only need to add the R. So nice becomes nicer, late becomes later, for example. Yes. And that's what you get when you have a word that is short but ends in an E. And finally, we have, or thirdly, more than finally, we have one syllable adjectives that have the combination consonant, vowel, consonant. In that case, what we need to remember, especially when we're writing the comparative form, is that we have to duplicate or repeat the final consonant. So big, bigger, hot, hotter. That's a double G and a double T, because otherwise we would have to change drastically the pronunciation of the word, which is not what we want. So I don't know. Argentina is bigger than Ecuador. Bigger. Yeah. So you see that's a comparative form, and December is hotter than July. Yeah. So you are comparing two months in that case. Then we have the case of words that end in a Y. In that case, what we do is when we are writing, we replace that Y, we eliminate it, and we replace it with an I, and then we add our er ending. So happy becomes happier, but that's an I, not a Y. Crazy becomes crazier, and so on. Yes, like I don't know, easy becomes easier, etc. And then we have the case of words that are longer, that are two or more syllables. In that case, we are going to do something very similar to what we do in Spanish. Instead of using an ending or changing the ending of the word, what we do is we add the word more before the word. So famous becomes more famous, and beautiful becomes more beautiful. Um, to cite an example, but you can also have longer words like, I don't know, complicated. Those words that are very, very long. If you go for the comparative form, you go with more complicated. Yeah, more complicated than, and then you use your second element. And then of course we have exceptions, as it happens with most English grammar rules. There are some words that we can't really uh, apply any of the rules that we've described before, so they just change their form completely. Fortunately, there are just a couple of words like this. Good and bad are the most common ones. So good becomes better in the comparative form, and bad becomes worse in the comparative form. So that's the case for comparatives. And you will see in a minute, when we change to superlatives, that the rules are very similar. What changes is the ending, or the word that we add at the beginning, but the rules are very similar and the different cases are the same basically. But the one important difference between comparatives and superlatives is that superlatives are used to talk about one element and to make it stand out or be highlighted above all the rest of similar elements. Instead of comparing two things, we are taking one thing and taking it to the top level, to the highest level. So the rules are the same, changing the corresponding endings. So one syllable, instead of using er, we are going to use est. So fast, the fastest. This is the fastest computer in the office. Young becomes the youngest, and then when they already have an e, we just add st in this case. So nice, the nicest. Late, the latest. And with one syllable that end in or have the combination consonant, vowel, consonant, we use double consonant. So big, the biggest with a double G, hot, the hottest with a double T. If the word ends in a Y, we use IEST. Yeah, so you change the Y for an I. So happy, the happiest. This is the happiest day of my life. That would be a superlative case. Crazy, the craziest. Easy, the easiest, etc. And when the words are long, like famous, beautiful, complicated, expensive, we use the most at the beginning of the word. Instead of using more, we use the most. Yes, to indicate superlative adjective. And the exceptions are still exceptions. So good, you don't say the goodest or the most good, you say the best. And for bad, you say the worst. Yes. And with superlative adjectives, we also have superiority and inferiority. Here are just some examples. This table here is very illustrative because you have like different fast food restaurants and different products and data, facts about these restaurants. And then we can form different sentences using them to compare the different fast food restaurants using these grammatical structures. So uh, Long John Silver's has the lowest average price. Yeah, average price. There you go. Yeah, here it is. It's the lowest one, so it's the cheapest of all of them. Yeah, this is a superlative adjective. Burger King is the least varied restaurant because it only has 8 varieties, so it's the least varied. This is also a superlative, but a superlative of inferiority, which means that it's the lowest level. McDonald's is the most varied one with 17 varieties. Yes. The McDonald's chicken muffin is cheaper, sorry, cheaper than the Burger King sandwich. Yes. So I'm comparing two elements. In this case, it's a comparative. So the muffin is cheaper than the sandwich. Yes, of course. Burger King has the most expensive platter. So the most expensive of all, yeah, is this one. This is also a superlative. And the Kentucky Fried Chicken porridge is the cheapest of all. Yes. So in all most of these sentences, except the fourth one, are examples of superlative adjectives. Yes. So this is what we do with this structure in English. Finally, let's move on to the linguistic functions section of the unit. Here we're going to talk something very related to customer service. We're going to be talking about making and dealing with complaints, customer complaints. We're going to talk about the guidelines and importance of this process. And also we are going to mention some useful expressions to use in this communicative situation. So when we talk about dealing with complaints, we have to keep in mind that there are certain things that are expected from the staff of the company and certain things that are expected not to happen. So that's what we call here in this slide the do's and don'ts of handling customer complaints. In the do's section, the things that are advised, that are recommended, you have to be a good listener. You have to express empathy. You have to show that you understand the problem and why the problem is serious for the customer. You have to go to the bottom of the matter. Sometimes you have to investigate a little bit why the problem happened. You had I don't know, I have a customer who hasn't received an order. And then the order is a couple of weeks late. So that's very important to understand why that happened and explain that to the customer. To quickly transfer the call or the situation if it's necessary. Sometimes the person who receives the call in the first place is not the person who can solve the issue. So it's important to not waste the customer's time and transfer the call immediately. You need to apologize. Apart from saying, okay, this is a problem, I'm sorry about the problem. Refocus completely and quickly, yes, and follow up with your customers. Once you have offered a solution, you have to make sure that in the next few days or weeks, your customer satisfaction level is high, and that something changed for the better. You always need to be friendly but professional. Do not be extremely friendly or happy because remember, you are dealing with a negative situation. So you have to show that you are paying attention and that you are taking it seriously. And acknowledge your fault or mistake. Always be humble. In the name of the company that you represent and in your name, your own name, you have to be humble and say, we messed up. we made a mistake. Do not demonstrate. Let's go to the don'ts now. Do not demonstrate contempt. Yeah, so like arrogance and anger. Do not leave the issue unresolved. Sometimes it's at the moment or in that moment it's easier to say no, no, we can wait and solve this later. It will always come back and even worse. Do not keep your customers on hold for too long. When you are a dissatisfied customer and you call the customer support department of a company and they leave you on hold for 30 minutes, you're only going to get angrier. It's just natural. Do not forget to keep a customer updated. If the process of handling that complaint takes more than a couple of minutes, make sure that you keep them up to date. So now we are doing this, or in the next few days you are going to do this. You're going to receive a compensation or a discount. You need to let them know what you're doing and that you're taking action. Do not create chaos. You need to remain calm and relaxed to offer a solution. Do not be aggressive, of course. Yes, aggressiveness is never a good way to resolve problems with customers. Do not argue. Sometimes the customer is so frustrated that he or she says information that is not accurate. Let them talk and listen. Do not fight with them because that's going to make them angrier. Do not get irritated, so remain calm, remain relaxed, and do not lose the opportunity to improve. Yes, when we are too arrogant and the companies are too arrogant, they are missing a great chance to change something that they are doing wrong into something that could be very, very positive in the future. But for that, they need to be humble and acknowledge their mistakes. So here are some of the useful expressions that we can use to deal with this situation. When you're receiving a complaint, you say, "What can I do for you?" Yeah, you're offering your help. Can you give me more details about the problem? It's always very important to understand the problem in detail. So that's what you do when you ask this. When you are a customer and you want to explain the issue, you say, "There's a problem with," and then you describe what the problem is with the product or service that you're not happy with. The product or the order still hasn't arrived. This is a very common problem, especially in this era where we have so many delivery uh, purchasing. So this is very common. I'd like to get a refund. So when you hear this as a customer or customer service agent, it means that the person wants his or her money back. So this would be like the last option of the last resort. Or sometimes the person ask for a replacement, a new product. They are not happy with the one they have, but they are happy to accept a new one. So I'd like to get a replacement means that. I'm very sorry about that. It's always important to empathize and apologize. Yes, I'm very sorry about that. I look into it right away, show that you're going to take actions immediately and that you're going to do something about it immediately. Yeah, I'll look to it right away. Right away means right now. We can offer you, and then you offer compensation. Compensation doesn't even have to be refunds. It can be like, I don't know, a discount the next time they buy something from your company. So that's the way you introduce that compensation. And finally, when you want to follow up and you want to show that you will follow up, you say something like, "I will be waiting to hear from you." Like, this is not the end of this. We have solved the problem today, but I will make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. So I'll call you back and see how satisfied you are in the future. Reaching the conclusions of this unit, we can say that in the context of business, it's very important to understand the importance of providing excellent customer service so that the staff can be ready to offer the best possible experience to the customers in all the stages, in all the steps of the purchase process, so that they are happy and satisfied. We can also see that in the grammar section, we learned that we can use comparative and superlative adjectives to give our opinions about products, services, and company processes, and also to describe the similarities and differences between them. And finally, we saw that dealing with dissatisfied customers in a professional, empathic, and efficient way, it's a key skills. Yeah, it's something very important for corporate staff, for the staff of companies these days. And of course, that there are specific phrases that we can use to deal with each stage of the complaint handling process. As usual, let's leave you with some final recommendations. Don't forget that if you have any questions or doubts, The course forum is the great place to share these with your tutor, with your professor, and he or she will be happy to help you by reading your comments and responding to them. Also, remember that participating in the synchronous online classes is essential because that's the perfect moment to clarify all the doubts that you may have, and it's done immediately in real time. And finally, do not forget that building this type of exchange between classmates and with your tutor or professor is how you build the knowledge for this subject and for any subject actually. So don't forget and don't hesitate to participate in the debate forum of the subject, because that's the way you're going to build this knowledge together. We have reached the end of this unit, and until the next one, let me tell you, take care and bye bye.